You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we start every show off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending with us truly does mean the world to me. So thank you. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
How's she cotton, me loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
All right, and we're back. Okay, we got a fun guest today. I've spent hours and hours and hours chatting with this gentleman over the years, so I have no doubt that this conversation will flow quite nicely. As you guys are pretty used to at this point, I don't introduce my guests because they can do a better job at that than myself. So on that note, sir, can you please tell everybody at home who you are and what you're about?
My name is Dale Penney, and I'm co-owner in TLC Disposal Services. We've been here in Fort McMurray now since 2000. And one of the things that we're really focused on over the years is giving back as much as we can, wherever we can.
That's awesome, man. So one of the things that you guys give back to, we're just going to jump into it, is you like supporting Ribfest. You like supporting some golf tournaments in town. I see your name's always out there. Yeah. So tell the people at home how you got involved with Ribfest, and guest that's been here once or twice, Dennis.
It was interesting, actually. I got a call. It was about midweek. Just a couple of days before Ribfest started, and it was Dennis who called me, and he's got such energy. It's attractive, and it gets your attention. And he said to me, you know, Dale, he said, I know I'll work with a competitor in town. He said, but this is something I think that we could get together and do, and this is my plan.
Right.
And I said, okay, I'm in. What do I need to do? So he told me he wanted porta washrooms and garbage bins delivered, and he said, Friday. And I said, this Friday?
Right.
He said, yeah. And I go, wow, okay. That's not a lot of notice. And he goes, well, actually, if you can get them tomorrow evening, that would be great because Friday it actually kicks off.
That's right.
So we got things together and got them delivered down there and start rolling with Ribfest. It was a great turnout. I think a lot of people showed up and enjoyed themselves.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
There you go. Now, for the people at home, and my bad, like you and I have just known each other for so long, I take it for granted. You touched on it a little bit there. What does TLC do?
We're a waste disposal company, so we provide waste services for industrial, commercial, residential areas.
Yep.
And we supply portable washrooms, fencing. We help with demolition, major contracts, that sort of thing.
You guys have some pretty interesting equipment when it comes to like collecting some of the garbage.
Yes.
Some of the trucks you guys have, it's not just like a dump truck come to dump it in. Like what's that truck that you guys have that like picks up the bags, and then because that whole system, that rig is fascinating to me.
Well, that's a rig actually that we got a couple years ago. My partner and I, John, went and took a look at this rig. It had a roll-off deck on it, so we can move around equipment. Mm-hmm. It's got a roll-off system, so we can pull garbage bins on it.
Right.
And we had the idea that we wanted to put a picker unit on it as well.
Right. And
because we wanted to be able to have those totes that we could deliver to people's residents who didn't have the room for a bin and didn't want to go through the expense of a bin and only had small amounts of garbage.
That's right. Yeah, that tote system is really neat.
Yeah.
It's something else. It's a pretty cool piece of equipment. So how did you get involved in this industry, Dale?
A friend of mine out of Edmonton, we were talking, and I go to waste expos whenever possible, so we get to see new technology and new ideas coming out.
Right.
And that's one of the things we've seen in the waste expo when we were in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I thought that would work well here.
That's right.
Because we have different sizes of projects.
Yeah.
Major projects to minor household renovations.
Right.
So we
so
thought
now,
this fit.
Initially, you moved to Fort McMurray years and years ago. So you didn't always have the business TLC. So let's start at the beginning. What brought you out here? Where are you from, and why did you come to Fort McMurray?
Well, I'm originally from Newfoundland. My partner, John, we're from neighboring communities. We went to school together. We pretty well grew up together.
Yeah.
And we were in the bush cutting firewood for heating sources for our families. And, I was working there, but I was working 2 jobs at times and still getting laid off. And I didn't like that idea. John didn't like it either. So he said, I'm out of here. I goes, well, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Fort McMurray. And he said, you're coming too. And I'm like, okay, I'm going too. I didn't know anybody here. I knew one person, Bob Reeder.
Yeah.
John had a cousin here. And we just decided we're leaving and coming here. And that's what we did.
And so when you got here, you just decided you're cutting wood in the bush. You come out here, like what skill you got skill sets obviously, but I don't know what they transferred into. So when
Yeah.
you came out here, what did you first get started doing?
I got my first jobs with the cross construction running equipment.
Okay.
Well, actually, labor work for the first 5 days, and then we rolled into equipment.
Right?
And again, when December came, we got laid off from Cross,
Yeah.
and I got a job then working on plant site at Syncrude.
Yeah.
It started out in the explosives program
Right.
as a
Right.
laborer,
That's right.
and so we did that, and then we rolled into working with Goloski,
Hmm.
and we did that for 6 or 7 years until I got hired with Syncrude.
That's right. And so you had like a very long career with Syncrude.
I had over 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then like after working for Syncrude for so many years, like it's a pretty secure gig when you get out there. How did you and your partner John decide, you know what, how did you see the opportunity in waste disposal and then decide, okay, this is kind of where we want to spend the rest of our time?
Well, we had friends, Terry Graff and Roy Holloway,
Yeah.
who were into the waste management business. And in 1998, I had 4 or 5 days off in a stretch.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I need something to occupy my time.
Hmm.
So we started TLC Recyclers, and that was taking care of used oil and oil containers and filters.
Right.
That quickly started to grow really fast to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore. John was working for Terry at the time, and then when he sold the waste management, he started working there.
Mm.
So in 98, we started the Recyclers.
Yeah.
We worked it for 2 years, and it was extremely busy to the point where I couldn't handle it by myself on my days off and vacation time.
Yeah.
So John said, okay, I'm going to quit waste management and let's start our own waste disposal company.
Right.
And a lot of our customers that we had through Recyclers also wanted us to take care of their waste disposal.
There you go.
So that's how we started.
So one thing led to another.
One thing led to
That's
another.
awesome. It's been, and that was back, like you said, you started in 1998, but then TLC officially disposal
2000.
2000. That's a great run.
It was good. It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are kind of known in town for having the yellow bins.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So that must that's a big signature for you guys. People know when they see the yellow bins, that's TLC.
Yeah. Yeah. When we got things going, we were trying to figure out a name, and our TLC Recyclers and Disposal rolled around as we were going to start buying cars and trucks and fixing them up and selling them.
Right.
So TLC was supposed to be tender love and care, but be body work or something like that, right?
Right. Right.
So we never had much time, so we just went with TLC and Disposal and Recyclers.
Yeah.
And so John and I had the conversation about what color we're going to go with, and John mentioned yellow, and I'm thinking, okay, that's going to be kind of stand out. So it was kind of funny. We bought our first used truck, and John went to BC and picked it up. And when we unloaded it in Gregoire, as soon as I hit Mackenzie Boulevard, I could see all the way up the end of the strip. I could see this big yellow square.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, is that our truck?
Yeah.
And so it was bright, it stood out. And then after just a few minutes there, it's like, okay, this is good. This is the way it's going to go.
There you go. It's not bad to stand out if you're
Yeah.
trying to get noticed for work.
Yeah.
Not a horrible thing.
Oh,
Not at all.
Oh.
So one story that I want to talk about a little bit, because I know you were very passionate about it. You put a lot of work into it, and I know a lot of people don't know the full story, but during the fire, you and your company and your employees, you guys put a lot of time and effort into the community right up until like when we were all evacuated. You were here. Can you share a little bit about that story for the people at home?
the day that everybody was evacuated, we waited until about 11 o'clock that night
Right.
until we were forced to leave.
Yeah.
We moved around a few things at the shop, and then everybody left. Myself and a couple of my employees went to White Court where my sister was living.
Mm.
And unfortunately, early that spring, I had laid off one guy because work was short.
Right.
And he was on the highway, so we called him up and said, hey, come down to White Court to stay at my sister's. As soon as we got there, I started calling the municipality wanting to get back in.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get back in for several reasons. Obviously, you want to check in on your company and take care of things, but we also wanted to give back.
Yeah.
Do whatever we could do, whatever was necessary, wherever anybody needed any help
Mm-hmm.
to get things rolling.
Right.
So within 36 hours, we were given the okay. We drove back to White Court. We got here about 10 o'clock Friday night,
Yeah.
and we rolled in about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
and we started.
And you guys are here for the full time.
full time.
Yeah.
When we came back with like 20-something cases of water, and because we didn't know what we had here.
That's right.
So wherever we went, we always had extra cases of water. So whenever you had checkpoints where it was fire department or RCMP, if they were getting low on water, we dropped things off.
That's right.
We worked really closely with the RCMP so we could get access to areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a challenging time for everybody, but it was rewarding too.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no, that was it. When I remember when we first met, and you were like, one of your colleagues was saying, "Oh, ask Dale about this," and you were like so humble about it. I was just like, man, you should tell people this story. It's pretty cool how you were here like the whole time helping out and doing work. But like, I know you're not one to brag, so I was like, I got to get that out there for you.
Yeah, well, we were part of a larger group, and everybody that was in there, worked hard and contributed any way they could.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of touched on this earlier in regards to you used to be at site, you had your days off, and you got bored. Now you're a business owner. The business is going well, so many years in business, but you still find yourself from time to time getting bored. So you found a bit of a side hustle to occupy some of your time.
Yes.
In the financial world.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that for the people at home.
That was a quite an extreme switch. I go from equipment operating to explosives to a garbage truck, and now I'm into finances.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Bill Ramsey and Brad Edstrom, I met up with them and we talked several times. They asked me to take a look at it, and I wanted to get some more insurance. So I went down and I seen Bill at our WFG office down in Franklin, and we talked for about 15 minutes on insurance, and then he started talking to me about the business side of it and how we could actually help people and give back to the community. And that caught my attention, so right away I signed up and challenged the exams and did that and got my license.
There you go.
It is a very rewarding path and a career as well, because especially in these times when people are struggling with debt, we're really able to help people manage that aspect of it and get them sorted out and get them situated.
There we go.
I love that part too.
Very cool. You breezed over something really quick there, and I totally forgot that you used to be in this industry. You used to be in explosives. You used to blow things up.
Yeah.
Tell I know there's some gentleman now watching this show that would like to be in that industry. How did you find yourself blowing stuff up, and what kind of things were you blowing up?
Well, when I first got into the explosive industry, I was 23 years old as a laborer, and I worked at Winter as a laborer, the blaster in charge. Every chance we got, we sat down there and I drilled them on different perspectives in a when you're putting together an explosive pattern.
Right.
And there's quite entailment.
Yeah.
And he suggested to me, he said, why don't you just try and get your blaster's license? So I did some research and talked to Occupational Health and Safety, and I could challenge the government exam. So that's what I did. So I challenged the government exam. I got my blaster certificate. Then I did my quarry foreman certificate. And then I did my manager certificate. It was a great career. I actually love it. It was very challenging mentally.
Right.
It made you think. But hey, you're 23 years old. You get a chance to blow everything up and never get in trouble for it. It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Very cool. So Dale, we're at the part of the show where Tanner has his segment. It's called the Max City Minute. Tanner's going to hit you up with some questions. Best of luck. I don't know what he's going to ask you. Tanner, hit him with the Max City Minute.
All right, question number 1. What is your favorite event to partake in Fort McMurray?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say right now it's the Rib Fest. I was sold on the first Rib Fest we did. It was absolutely a thrill.
Question number 2. What is the weirdest thing you've had to dispose of?
Oh, well, it's not that weird, I guess, but we had bins up when they were building the apartment buildings behind the Independent store.
Yeah. Yep.
And they were all supposed to be construction waste, wood. And my driver calls me and he said, Dale, he said, do we have a steel bin up here? And I go, no. Why? He said, well, there's a bin here with steel in it. And I said, what's in there? He said, there's a full-size van. Someone picked up a van with a hole and stuffed it in the bin. So that would probably be the weirdest.
No doubt.
Question number 3. What is your favorite part of owning your own business in Fort McMurray?
freedom of time and giving back. I think it's two. As an owner, you have the opportunity to really give back and make a difference in other areas. So I really like that part.
Question number 4. What is your favorite part of golfing in the city?
Meeting other people.
And your final question, what is your favorite way to spend a day off in Fort McMurray?
With some friends, whether it's golfing or just sitting and chatting.
And those have been your 5 questions.
Are you a big golfer?
I used to be years ago.
Okay.
Before the businesses.
Yeah.
Obviously, the business took a lot of my time.
Right.
But I want to get back into that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was kind of surprised because, like, I didn't know you as a golfer, and you're so busy with, like, the 2 different worlds that you live in, your company and financing. I'm like, when I saw you at the golf course a few days ago, I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
where does Dale find the time to go golfing? So you're getting back into it, are you?
Yeah, getting back into it. Last year, I played golf twice outside of tournaments. I'm going to try and do a little more this year.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in regards to golf, I know you have traveled a lot around the world. What's the coolest place you've ever golfed?
Coolest place I ever golfed would be, I'll just say Red Deer. We did a course in Red Deer.
Yeah.
There's one hole there. It must be over 600 yards.
Yeah.
So out of that, it was pretty cool. And part of that course was really narrow, so it was really challenging. And I got to be with some of my friends in Red Deer, so it was cool.
There we go. Now, on your profile a few years ago, you met a pretty big Canadian celebrity. And he was on your profile picture, a very fast man.
Yep.
Who was that?
Donovan Bailey.
And how did you tell the people at home that little story?
We were in Banff with the World Financial Group,
Yeah?
and he was a guest speaker there.
Okay.
So we got a chance to go up and have a conversation with him, and he told us his story, and which was really intriguing for us. And the amount of work that he had to put into just getting 1,000th of a second faster.
Right.
And you think about that, 1,000th of a second is nothing. You don't blink that fast. But it was a struggle, and it was a long road to get that much faster. So it was pretty interesting to sit down with this guy and have that conversation. And you were talking about someone who's really humble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive.
It's interesting in regards to professional athletes. It's funny you bring that up. Like, when you think about something like that in regards to that small amount of time and the effort in regards to like the training and the eating and the sacrifice just to make up like that minute of a time, like they definitely have to be like laser focused to figure that out. That would have been a good guest speaker to listen to, no doubt.
It
At
was
your
incredible.
conference. Who else? Like you've had the fortune of having a few really good speakers at your conferences. Who do you think has been the most impactful?
Franco Day.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Franco Day was co-owner in Second Cup until they sold out.
Oh, okay.
He came to one of our conferences, and we had that, and he told us his story as well. When he was younger, he was down and out on the streets in Toronto, living panhandling. Right, had some issues, and I remember he told us one day that a guy came and put some change in his hand, and he said, "Make good use of this." And that's when he decided he was going to change his life around.
Oh wow!
And he grew from that to having a little bit of a little coffee shop, and just grew it into Second Cup.
Wow!
Impressive.
That is impressive. Wow. All right. Well, Dale, that's it. Time flies.
Awesome.
I just got the watch tap from Tanner that we're done. So before you take off today, everybody gets a shameless plug though. Please tell everybody at home about your businesses again, how they can support you, and where they can find you.
Okay. TLC Disposal, we're locally owned and operated. You'll see our bins all over town. The numbers are plastered all over that. If you give us a call, we got great staff in the office that will definitely take information and help you out. World Financial Group, again, phenomenal group to work with. We really focus on our clients and want to put them on the right path to getting some financial reprieve if they're having trouble with debt. If you want to invest, we're your guy too as well. And give me a call, 780-838-3896.
There we go. All right, Dale, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it, and hopefully you come back again very soon.
For sure.
Cool. All right. Well, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, that's been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It truly does mean the world to me. On that note, hopefully you're having a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.